Tim woke up due to the heat in the room. He was full of sweat as neither the fan nor the air conditioner was working. He rubbed his eyes to clear his vision and checked his mobile. To his surprise, his mobile showed that it had no SIM. He tried to connect his mobile with the Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi section was not displaying the name of his Wi-Fi. He thought, what is happening? No SIM? No Wi-Fi? He got out of bed, wore the slippers, and pressed the light button, but the room lights didn't switch on. He kept pressing the switch, but nothing happened. He turned on the torch of his mobile and moved towards the door, trying to turn the knob, but the door was locked from the outside. Tim started getting anxious and worried. He started knocking on the door, but there was no response. Tim started banging on the door, but again there was no response. He screamed, "Help! Let me out of here!" There was no response. He knocked hard on the door again. After a few seconds, he heard some sound beneath his bed. He got furious. He looked beneath the bed and found a walkie-talkie. He grabbed it, turned it on, and said, "Hello?" There was a disturbance on the channel. He turned it off and then turned it on. "Hello, Tim. Hope you are fine. I was waiting for you to wake up," a man with a heavy voice said from the other side of the walkie-talkie. Tim shouted, "Who are you? Why am I locked in my room?" The man said, "I have locked your room from the outside. Don't worry. I am here just to get some answers from you. You think I'm stupid enough to fall for this? Unlock the room, and where are my parents?" They were in the next room. Tim raised his voice. The man also raised his voice. "You have to answer some of my questions first if you want to be out of this room. Once you answer all of my questions, you will be a free man, and then you can meet your parents too. Believe me, they are in a safe place." Tim didn't say anything for some time. After a few minutes of thinking, he responded, "Tell me what you want." The man laughed and said, "That's a good boy. I am trying to seek some answers. I hope you will help me with this. Just give me the answers to some fucking questions that are creating chaos in my mind, and you will be a free man. I want proper answers, and if you fail in doing so, then you will die. Hope everything is clear." "Shall we start then?" the man asked. Tim said in an angry tone, "Start it, damn it." "So, tell me, Tim, why do people hate each other without any reason?" the man asked. Tim shouted, "What type of question is this?" The man responded, "You are supposed to answer me and not question me. You have 5 minutes to answer. Don't waste your and my time." Tim thought for some minutes and then said, "People may hate others for many reasons. Jealousy is the usual cause of most hate from individuals. At times, hate arises from misunderstanding or not knowing someone well enough and forming judgments instead of getting to know them better." "Well, that's a well-framed answer," the man said. Tim said in a louder voice, "Ask the second question. Now, you don't waste time. Be polite. So, here's the second question. Tell me, what is the best way to deal with people who hate you?" the man asked. Tim again thought for some minutes and then said, "Don't deal with them at all. Those folks who hate you have no place in your life. They are toxic. Just start staying out of their way. You'll love the peace that replaces the toxic ones." That answer hurt me. Shouldn't you try to understand why they hate you? You can also be wrong. That's why they hate you. "I think your answer was biased," the man said. Tim interrupted, "That's your way of thinking. Now, ask me the next question." The man raised his voice, "I am talking about such an important topic and you are continuously interrupting me. Do you want the next question?" This is a statement followed by a question. "Ever since I can remember, I always felt like I was born just to be hated. Seems like everyone hates my personality. I think I am a very polite and sympathetic person. Yet I've been alone for years. What should I do? Tim also raised his voice. What an idiotic question. The answer is simple. Get to know yourself. You won't find your answers easily. Ask yourself questions like, am I an asshole? And if so, why? Am I controlling? And if so, why? What type of answer is that? You don't know how your answers are affecting me. I don't give a shit if it's affecting you or not. I don't even know why you are asking such senseless questions, Tim yelled. Shut up, you bloodsucker, the man shouted. You want to know why I am asking these questions? Well, my family always hated me just because they had another good son whom they loved unconditionally. Ever since I can remember, I always felt like I was born just to be hated. I want answers as to why my parents hated me. What was my fault? See you, idiot. I don't give a damn about your problems. Ask these questions to your parents and not me, Tim shouted. I will ask them these questions. You don't worry about it, the man responded. Then get me out of this room, Tim continued shouting. The man laughed and switched off walkie-talkie. Hello? Tim shouted on the walkie-talkie. The door of his room unlocked from the outside. Tim rushed toward the door and opened it. A man with a mask on his face standing outside struck Tim's head with a hammer. Tim fell to the ground, grabbed his head, and started screaming in pain. Blood started coming out of his head, covered his entire hand, and started dripping on the floor. The man threw the hammer on the ground and brought an old man and an old woman in front of Tim. They were tied to the chair and their mouths were stuffed with handkerchiefs. I am sorry, Tim, but you failed to answer all of my questions. And the questions whose answers you gave hurt me. So, you lose, the man laughed and took out a gun from his pants back pocket. You asked me to question my parents? So, here it is. I will ask questions to my parents. If they give a satisfying answer, they will live or they will die. The man took out his mask and threw it. Tim wasn't able to see the man's face as his vision got blurry due to an injury on his head. He squeezed his eyes and rubbed them, but then also he was not able to see his face. Dear old man and old woman, there are a lot of questions whose answers I need. Do give me answers to some of the questions that I am asking now. You always hated me from childhood like I have done some crime. Why? You loved my younger brother more than me and gave him everything. Why? The day he was born, my life became hell. Why? You started giving him more time. Why? If he did anything wrong, I was blamed and beaten for it. Why? I had to suffer every day because of him. Why? You are giving each piece of your property to him. Why? You all never cared about me. Why? I, along with my pregnant wife, were thrown out of the house. Why? Tim's vision got a little bit clear and he got the shock of his life. Jimmy, you? Why are you doing this? Tim said in pain. You smartasses acting as if you don't know anything, Jimmy shouted. Tim interrupted. I know, Jimmy, why you are angry, but we can discuss all this while we all sit together. I have sympathy for you. People who earlier didn't give a fuck about me are now showing sympathy to me, Jimmy said in an angry voice. You made my life hell. If I can't live a happy and normal life because of you monsters, then I will not let you live a happy and normal life. I will make your life a hell too because you deserve it. You two monsters don't deserve to live. First, you made my life hell, and when I married, you both threw us out of the house. Why? It is because of your monsters that my wife and my unborn child are not in this world. After what you two did with me, they were my only hope left. You threw us on the road without any food or money. She had complexity in giving birth to the child for which an operation was needed, and we didn't have enough money to operate on her. How would I have money? You and those two old monsters didn't give us anything. You all are devils who came in the form of humans to make my life a living hell. You two should have died earlier, but better late than never. Jimmy pointed his gun towards his father. Don't do this, please, Tim said in pain. Tears started coming out of his eyes as he begged for his parents' life. Oh, see, a great son is crying for his parents. I will spare them if you answer my one simple question. Will my wife and son come back if I let this old man live? Jimmy said with a grudge. Tim didn't say anything as he knew the question only had one answer. Jimmy shot his father in the skull. Tim and his mother screamed. Now, Jimmy pointed his gun toward his mother and said, so here's the question to save your mother. Will this old woman be able to live without her old man? Tim didn't say anything as the answer to this question could be only given by his mother. He looked toward his mother. His mother tried to say something but was unable to understand due to the handkerchief. Jimmy took out the handkerchief. So, the old woman has decided to answer? Very well. Her mother yelled while crying, you devil. We should have killed you instead of throwing you out of the house. And that's the wrong answer. Jimmy shot his mother. Jimmy came closer to Tim, who was crying while grabbing his head, which was covered with blood. Don't cry. Everything will be fine. I lost the closest person in my life. The same happened to you. We are on the same page now. Feel lucky that you are not married yet. Tim grabbed the hammer lying on the ground and hit Jimmy on the head. Jimmy grabbed his head and started screaming in pain. Blood started coming out of his head. Tim hit him on the head again. He stood up using the support of the door handle and moved outside the room. He grabbed the landline phone and called the police. Before he could say anything, Jimmy shot him 4 times. Tim fell to the ground and died. Jimmy dragged himself outside the room and went toward the kitchen. He turned the knob of the cylinder and gas started leaking. This evil place needs to be burnt. He sat on the floor taking the support of the wall. His vision started getting blurry due to the injury he got on the head. He thought, Maria, I have sent those devils to hell. Where will I go, heaven or hell? This question even I can't answer, but what I know is that you must be in heaven. I am sure of that. Hoping that I will meet you again, if not in heaven then in the next life. Tears started coming out of his eyes and he took out a packet of matchsticks from his pocket. He could smell the gas that had now spread throughout the entire house. He said in his mouth, hope no one gets this type of life. It is better to be dead rather than to have this type of life. He lit the matchstick.